when I was at step 3 and I was still in charge of my own life, I was still running the show and wondering why everything was falling apart around me. I'm sober. These things aren't supposed to happen.
Mm.
But life happens on God's terms. You know, good things happen to people, bad things happen to people. And that's when I saw that I needed that reliance. And when I started trusting that higher power, that's when things changed for me.
I've heard it through the grapevine. Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour, featuring the collective voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Don, an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina, a state of mental goose flesh.
Ew. Hi, I'm Sam. I'm an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
I got chills when you said that.
You got chills? I got chills. They're multiplying.
Sam, I lost my big book.
The one that's falling apart?
Not the one that's falling apart. I have my original big book, but I bought a 4th edition about a year ago, and I transferred all my notes in there, and I transferred my list. I always write down the date that I start reading in the book with a new sponsee. And so the front flyleaf page has about, it's got about 35 names on it. I don't even know some of those people because I only met with them one time and they never came back again.
Yeah, that happens, doesn't it?
And I was just devastated not to have that thing because it's got everything cross-referenced.
One of the things I've heard about getting a new big book is to leave it clean instead of transferring all your notes so that you can forget all that you think you know.
Well, I didn't transfer everything. I transferred such things as cross-referencing, but I didn't transfer, every revelation that I had, Yesterday I found it had slipped out of my bag that I carry it in to my meetings, and it had slid way back under the seat in the car, I found it.
In your car.
It was my car.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So once again, you're creating the chaos in your life, is what you're saying.
I was kind of thinking that we would go about how important our notes are in our big books, Sam.
Oh, no, but I think what it's really coming around to is that you are the source of the chaos monkeys.
I'm always the source of my own chaos. That's certainly the case.
So the notes are important.
I really missed it the 2 weeks I didn't have it at the meeting, although I was able to make some new notes.
Mm-hmm. I like that you have your sponsorship notated in there. For me, those little Post-it notes that have like sign here flags type things, I get those. They're blank, but I use those as bookmarks. I've done it for years and years. Well, I write a sponsee's name on that, and that's how I track where we are in the book when we meet.
Nice.
And so I've got my books that just have these flags all in them from sponsees from way back, and this is where we last talked. And it's neat stuff.
It is cool because you go back. I mean, I found, I'll see a note that I made. And also sometimes in the book, I'll make a note of a sponsee's name where we stopped. Like my sponsee, Chess. I went through the book with him in the 90s. and it's so cool to see it there. And he's been sober all this time. It's great.
I love the memories it triggers too.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. Well, Sam.
Yes, sir.
New memories. Who's our guest today?
I don't remember.
Don,
today's guest is Deb S. in Long Island, New York. And we have our monthly segment, The Tradition in Our Lives.
And we've got some listener feedback with a point that bears some discussion. This is a good one, and I think we're going to have to include the Debster in that. That's what she said that they call her, so we're calling her the Debster.
But first,
the news!
I have the opportunity today to talk to two people who are chairing two working groups on behalf of the Trustees Literature Committee. And those pamphlets are an important advancement in the message that we carry in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Hi, friends. I'm Anisha, and I go by she, her, and I'm leading the development of the transgender pamphlet. In 2024, the General Service Conference had asked AA to develop a pamphlet for the transgender alcoholic. And the aim of this pamphlet is to carry our message to all gender diverse alcoholics, transgender, non-binary, two-spirit, and gender non-conforming, all of us who sometimes don't feel seen. At the heart of this pamphlet will be your stories. How you got sober, what helped you, how AA's principles guided you through barriers like safety, belonging, sponsorship, or language. If you relate personally, submit your story. Or if you know someone or somebody you sponsor, please invite them to submit. I understand sometimes marginalized folks hesitate to share, but it is our shared experience is how we carry the message. We would be honored to hear yours. To help write and to answer any questions you might have, we are also hosting several writing workshops, both on Zoom and at local events.
Thank you, Manisha. Brian?
Hi, I'm Brian P., and I'm an appointed committee member on the Trustees Literature Committee. Right now, the General Service Office is accepting story submissions for a new pamphlet in development, AA for the Asian and Asian American Alcoholic. If you are an AA member in the U.S. or Canada with ethnic or cultural ties to Asia, you are welcome and encouraged to submit your story. According to our last membership survey, Asians only make up 1.2% of our fellowship, so we need everyone's help to spread the message about this and encourage anyone who can submit their story to do so. Please remember that Asia includes more places than just China, Japan, and Korea, and includes countries in South Asia, Southeast Asia, Western, and Central Asia. Watch for announcements about upcoming writing workshops. Story submissions are due by March 31st, 2026, so please act now.
Thank you so much. The deadline, as Brian has said, is March 31st, 2026. For more information about how to submit your story, please go to area05aa.org/writing-workshops. Again, area05aa.org/writing-workshops. Also, information will be available about the location of workshops and how you can participate on AA Grapevine's IG page. Check it out on Instagram.
My name is Deb. I'm an alcoholic. I am from Long Island, New York. My home group is called Belmore Only Booze Group. And I have a sponsor and I have a lot of sponsees.
Deb, thank you for joining us. We're so happy to sit down with you. I've heard a lot of wonderful things about you from our co-host, Alice.
I love Alice.
Everybody loves Alice.
Yeah.
So, Deb, what was your drinking like before you got sober?
It almost was blackout drinking from the start.
Mm.
I overserved myself from my very first time drinking.
That's a
So-
polite way of putting it.
That's very polite. I'm going to borrow that.
Yeah, I overserved
yes.
myself.
I overserved myself. The room spun. Of course, I got sick. And I had no recollection of what happened between going out and throwing up. The night was a blur. I was married. I had a child, but I wasn't making it home from the bar.
Oh,
Not until the next day.
yeah.
Hmm.
Did you drink for a long time?
From the time I was 14 until I was 36 years old.
Oh, that's a pretty good career.
Yeah, I'll say. You know, I married for money, or at least I thought he had money, but he didn't. So I married for selfish reasons.
Mhm.
I had a baby because all my friends had babies, not because I wanted a baby at that time, but just because I wanted what other people had.
Well, what brought you to the point that you decided you needed to make a change in your drinking?
Well, I decided to kill myself because I didn't know there was a way out. I hadn't heard of AA. So sadly, all I had in my medicine cabinet was ibuprofen, but there were a bottle of 100 of them. So I washed them down with a bottle of gin and prayed that it would damage my organs to the point where I would die
Mm,
from this,
mm,
because
mm.
the hopelessness was beyond anything I could imagine.
That hopelessness is something that so many of us have experienced. I've been there as well. I attempted suicide in my
Yeah.
drinking as well. And
Yes.
it is a lonely place to be that far down
Yes.
and not think that there's any other thing that can be done.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I do recall that before I got to the point of oblivion, I was drunk dialing and playing the blame game for my life. I called my mother, I called my husband at work, I called my friends. Somebody called 911. Oh, and then of course I refused to go in the ambulance
Well,
because I know the law. You have to wait till I go into cardiac arrest.
Mm.
But I had a wonderful, wonderful policeman in my life who was in my home very often because of domestic violence. I was the one that was committing that crime on my husband. He was never raised his voice or a pinky. And that very same cop was at my bedside. And he approached my face and I punched him, and it was a reflex reaction. He put handcuffs on me. His partner put ankle shackles on me. And he said, "Guess what, sweetheart? Now we can take you."
just looking at you, don't look like somebody who's going to punch me in the face.
I haven't punched anybody since. I thought I was going to jail, but they took me to a psych ward who sent me to a rehab. Best thing in the world that ever happened to me.
So is the rehab where you learned that AA existed?
Absolutely. I surrendered when I got to the rehab, because I knew that there was probably hope now.
Hmm.
So,
Ah,
because I didn't have hope before.
Yeah.
And when I got there, I got this little modicum of hope.
And it doesn't take much, does it?
No,
Did you learn about AA in the rehab? Did you go to
I
meetings
was
while you were there?
very lucky. Well, first I did whatever they told me to do. I was a good soldier. I followed and did whatever I had to do. But I also was an insomniac. At nighttime, I would leave my room. The security desk was right outside my door, and I would talk to the security guards.
Hmm.
And one night, one of them got it in their head to take me through the big book.
Oh,
So
wow.
every night that I was in this rehab, different security guards, different shifts, they would read the big book with me and explain everything to me. I knew what was wrong with me the minute we delved into the doctor's opinion, and I was
wow.
amazed.
I'm amazed that all the security guards knew AA and could take you through the book. They were all members of AA.
They were members of AA.
Wow. This is the first time I've heard something like that. I
Yeah.
love that.
And they gave me great advice. They said, when you leave here, go to a meeting the same day and raise your hand and get a sponsor. And I listened.
What does that mean, get a sponsor?
It was going to be someone that was going to continue guiding me through that book and teaching me how to stay sober and putting my hand in the hand of a power I didn't want because I
Ooh.
didn't believe in God. We go to diners in New York after meetings, and we sit in diners and we drink coffee for hours.
Uh-huh.
And we exchanged our stories. And when she brought up God, I was like, I'm not interested. And she said, "Do you believe that I believe?" And I said, "I could do that."
Okay.
And she said, "Well, that's the little mustard seed of faith you need to make a start," just like the book said. She was right out of that
Yeah.
book.
And then that works. That's what my sponsor did with me. Do you believe that I believe? Well, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't cost you anything to believe that.
Well, and also I could see it.
Well, and what I really liked was that I did not have to believe what other people believed.
Exactly.
And I still don't. It's our own conception, and that's an important thing.
And first of all, when she said the word conception, and I have an education, it was like that was a foreign language word I didn't understand what she meant when she said, choose your own conception of God.
Hmm.
I complicated that word. And then she just said, well, what would you like in this power greater than you? What qualities? And that's when everything came together.
And what did you say to that? What
Well,
quality?
I said, I want a God that when I'm sad, puts a shawl over me and puts his arm around me and comforts me. I want a God that loves me. I don't want my mother's God. I want someone that's going to protect me and love me, treat me well. The things I didn't get when I was a kid with my mother's God.
And it was okay for that to be your
It
higher.
was my start.
Yes.
Start. I'm going to make a guess here that those qualities of that higher power that were important to you when you first were conceiving of this
Yes,
are qualities that are a part of you today.
absolutely. I agree.
That's how you show up for others.
That's how I show up for people. Yes. Yes.
Become the person that you want to be.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And over time, my concept of my higher power has shifted.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to laugh. I now call God my boyfriend. And the reason I say that,
It's because you're looking for a boyfriend. And
no,
that's
I
what you...
definitely don't want a boyfriend.
Men are hard to train. We don't want that, right?
I don't want that. But what I do think about is that when people come into AA, and I speak a lot at meetings, and people are in different places in AA, beginners, newcomers to long timers, and they talk about what I used to do when I was new. That 5 minutes in the morning of please God keep me sober for the day, and then at night, thank you God so much for keeping me sober. And if I had a boyfriend and I only spent 5 minutes in the morning with him and 5 minutes at night, how long do you think I'd have that boyfriend?
Yeah.
So I had to cultivate a relationship with God that was throughout my day, throughout my night. So I have a relationship. And if that means sometimes stopping and meditating,
What does your meditation look like? I'm curious.
well, I stole it from someone else because nothing's original in AA to begin with.
No.
But it was over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that I heard this speaker say that every day he takes one line from the prayer of St. Francis and thinks about that one line throughout the day. So, for example, if today's line, which was rather to comfort than to be comforted, it's amazing how God puts people on my path, and it doesn't have to be AA. My neighbors, I live in a senior community that needs something, just 5 minutes of your time, or they want to tell you what's going on with them. And if you could just be kind and offer some comfort, he does that. So I just think about the one line throughout the day. And tomorrow it'll be a different line that I'll concentrate on. So I get to meditate through my day. So the prayer and meditation ends up going hand in hand.
I love that.
Oh,
Thank
really?
you.
That's beautiful. It becomes constant prayer.
Yes.
When I ask for my different character defects to be removed, I have found situations come up where my character defect wants to come out, and I get the opportunity to not do that.
Our character defects never truly go away, they're always there. We can access them at our will. And
Yes.
sometimes our character defects have served us well. And even today, you've got a barometer in your belly that tells you that's not okay. And then you've got the 10th step, which is, you're walking around, I broke it again. I better fix it. And I better fix it now. But we have so much opportunity for prayer and meditation. We have, I call it my nightstand reading. books that are non-conference approved literature, that are spiritual in nature, that I read. I also do what everyone, or at least what I think everyone is doing in AA, reading pages 86 to 88, although my sponsor would like me to do 84 to 88 every morning and every night. I do all the things that I learned from the beginning, but then I try to enhance my spiritual life by seeking out authors that have something.
Deb, what is your recovery like today? How do you stay sober today? I don't know, say a week.
Oh my God, my sponsor will kill me if I tell you all the service I'm involved in. So, first of all, I have another nickname. It's the Flyer Fairy. Everyone sends me their flyers.
Including the
And-
Grapevine podcast.
And then I post them on 40 different WhatsApp groups. Then I have like 6 text groups of people who don't have WhatsApp that I send it to them so they can know what's happening tomorrow. I do it every night for the next day. So people know what meetings are going on out there. And this way they can access those flyers. And it's just become something I've done for the last 5 years. The other thing I do is I host and co-host a few meetings that are not my own online. I do make my in-person meeting as well. And I became an ambassador for Dr. Bob's House.
Oh, wow.
And yes,
What does
I
that
have
mean? You're an ambassador for Dr. Bob's House. Dr.
have
Bob's one of our co-founders.
what it means is that you are in fundraising mode.
What else is going on in your week?
I read with sponsees, and like you, well, I don't use the thing you use, which is very good. I used to have a packet of those signature things. I use Post-its,
Post-it
and
notes.
and I put it in sideways so that it sticks out a little, and I've got the person's name. In case it gets, comes out of the book, their name, the page number, and the first sentence of the paragraph. We're
Oh,
on.
wow.
Yeah. So this is my big book. It is quite the mess.
Oh my
But
goodness, look
it's-
at this.
it's-
We got to describe this.
It's been bound already, and it's already unbound itself.
Okay, so what we need to do is hopefully you can send us a picture of that.
Oh, I will.
And we'll put it up on the Instagram when we post the episode.
It's one of those books that has got pages just chock full of papers and yellow
It's got
Post-it notes.
It's got like all these pieces of paper with history, with background information, because I love AA history. And the beginning of the book is autographs of people I've met along my journey in AA, speakers I've admired, and some that are no longer here.
A well-loved
Yes.
book. So what would you do if you lost your book?
I would die.
It's time for listener feedback. We received this email from Scott L. in Los Angeles. Discussing politics in meetings.
Scott writes, "Hi, I am new to AA, 7 months, and am enjoying your podcast. I learned something from every speaker you host. Recently, you read a question from a member who is very stressed about politics, asking whether it's okay to discuss politics in meetings given our divided country. From a newcomer's perspective, the suggestions you provided seemed somewhat muddled. It seems to me, based on my limited experience, that each person's sobriety is the most important thing in the room. If a member is stressed out about politics, and that is an issue in maintaining the member's sobriety, then the member absolutely should be able to share about it, with the it being the stress and not a rant about politics or any individual politician. A member, regardless of which side of the aisle, can easily talk about how we as a country are going in the wrong direction and the stress that causes without being disrespectful. If there were another member in the room who was also stressed about politics, but on the other side of the aisle, The hope would be that their common bond of alcoholism would rise above any political differences and allow them to come together and help each other remain sober. Keep up the great work, Scott L.
Scott, thanks so much for writing. Yes, I can see how you found the discussion perhaps a little muddled in that we didn't come down exactly clear on we can talk about the stress, but we cannot talk about politics. And the reason for that is that if any hint of any politics are in there, it can run someone out of the room who needs to get sober. And we just do not want to have anything inside of AA that is going to distance someone, make someone uncomfortable, make them feel unwelcomed. So the moment any politics of any, even the slightest little bit, particularly at this point when we're so divided in our country, if it comes up even just a little bit, people can feel like they don't belong because they don't agree with that. Now, the stress we can talk about, and it's possible to talk about that in meetings, and I've done it and I've seen other people do it well, but we have to stay out of the politics.
I have to say that when we start doing that, first of all, it diverts our primary purpose. We've got a bunch of newcomers in the room. We don't want them to think that that's what we do in AA. I look at it this way. If I am wearing a button or a shirt of a politician and a newcomer walks in and they don't like that politician, I've lost a chance to help a newcomer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anything between me and the newcomer. I don't want religion between us or politics or any outside issues. And I heard a wonderful story about Washington, D.C. during election time, and people were out on the street and protesting and whatever. And the meeting was on a storefront, so street level. Everyone that walked into that little corridor before they walked into the meeting took their T-shirts off and put them on inside out.
Hmm.
I think that's a beautiful story.
Yes, indeed.
I love that.
While I know how to share in a meeting about the stress of politics, I don't do that because in that same meeting are people who don't know how to do it.
Mm.
And my sharing to their ears is an invitation, can be an invitation for them to share about politics. So it's so easy for a meeting to go off the rails, even if the person who opened that sharing didn't address politics, did not say the things that Scott writes about in his email. But the people who are attending may not have the education within AA of, we don't do this. They may not have the self-control. They may not have the recovery yet to not do that. So there are things that for me are better for me to talk with my sponsor and my trusted friends.
Well, there you
about.
go. Yes.
But also, it's our responsibility to bring the meeting back.
Indeed, it
recovery,
certainly
because
is.
people piggyback off of whatever the last person said. And so I have to put my hand up when I see things going out of control and bring it right back to recovery.
Indeed, we do have to do that.
I'm talking about letting go when I'm talking about stress, or I'm talking about the difficulty of letting go when I'm talking about stress. So I hear what you're saying, and I do think that if it's got to be anywhere close where you feel like that you've got to be talking about politics in any way, that's for your sponsor. But all the different things in my life that I have trouble letting go with are the things I used to drink at.
I agree.
And in a general way is also how we share in the meetings.
Yes.
There's another point to make here too. This also, for me, includes the meeting before the meeting and the meeting after the meeting.
Absolutely. But people don't believe that. They think it's okay. The parking, they call it the parking lot. And I always remind them of Tradition 10 so that at least it's on their mind. Oh, I'm not going to share about politics. I'm not going to share about religion or any other outside controversy.
You can make someone uncomfortable in the parking lot just as easily as you can do it in the meeting. Here's a pertinent daily quote that came up with one of the Grapevine daily quotes. Our co-founder, Bill W., wrote, "Like other men and women, we AAs look with deep apprehension upon the vast power struggle about us, a struggle in myriad forms that invades every level, tearing society apart. I think we AAs are fortunate to be acutely aware that such forces must never be ruling among us, lest we perish altogether." That was published in February 1978. It sounds like he's talking about today. That was in the Bill W. Yale Correspondence, and it can be found in the book, The Language of the Heart.
Scott, thank you so much for writing in about that. And I want to point out that Scott wrote in about this at 7 months in AA.
Yeah.
And the valuable contributions that people who are young in sobriety bring to the table, because the conversation that you just fostered here, Scott, is going to be helpful to so many other people too. So thank you.
And it was so introspective as well, his question. He really gave it a lot of thought.
And these are only our opinions. This podcast is the collected voices, not the collective voice of AA. And if you have an opinion on this, we would like to hear it.
Deb, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to meet you, getting to see your face.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who subscribes to the Grapevine magazine in print or in the AA Grapevine app. Your support makes the half-hour variety hour possible. Only $2.99 a month.
$3 a month? Come on.
Using the traditions in our lives. Folks, every month we ask past guests to share their experience with one of the 12 traditions. Tradition 2. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern.
Hi, my name is Johnny. I'm an alcoholic from Muskegon, Michigan. My higher power has expressed himself in my group conscious in a lot of different ways. When I first got sober, they called me Johnny Bathrobe because I wore pajamas and bathrobes just as my attire. I didn't wear normal clothes. And a guy stopped me and he said, "Okay, Johnny, you're talking about things like having a family, getting married, having a career. Those are adult things." He's like, "And the bathrobe's cool, but it's the cool kid thing." And I'm like, "Are you telling me I need to grow up?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Is this something you've wanted to say to me for some time? You just never had a good opportunity to do it?" And he's like, "Yeah." But that was one way that my higher power was helping me grow and expressing himself in my group conscience.
Hi, my name is Sharon, and I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is September 26, 2016. There's one ultimate authority. I love the idea of having one ultimate authority, and that one being God. Each individual is responsible for the tradition. As a group member, I bring this idea of a loving God into my consciousness. So that means that when I'm sitting at a meeting or there's something to be voted on or at a business meeting, my responses should come from a God-centered space. First, I usually try to ask myself, is this going to help or harm? And is this my ego? Is this me trying to make this change? And is this change for the group? If I come to a business meeting or to a group conscious with that thought, and if my other group members do the same, that's where the loving consciousness of God comes in. For me, the 12 steps was the thing that unblocked me to get to this relationship with this power that I call God. And if I have a loving relationship with God, then when I am going into these spaces, and not just in a group conscious meeting, but with my family, my friends, like, do I bring God into these decisions? Is this the help or the harm? What am I really trying to do here? And where it says our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. I was a secretary in my home group, and we had this issue, and I remember not being able to vote because I was a secretary. I had to go to the elders. I had to go to all of our AA literature and read the literature and say, well, this says this and this says this and here it is here. And I remember not being able to vote because I was a secretary. And I had to bring the information to the group and then step back. And I remember watching the group and how somebody would say this and how it would sway and other people would say, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. And how the minority opinion can be so powerful in those situations. It's really when we have this idea of this God consciousness that we can come to this.
And now, Polly.
I'm an alcoholic from Wilmington, North Carolina. Tradition, too, keeps me in my right size. I have to swallow my ego. I have to understand that I don't always know best. Brimming example of this was a situation in my home group recently where we had to have basically a group conscience during our business meeting. One member of AA had done something to another member of AA physically, and it had to be brought to the table as to how we were going to handle this. I'm standing there thinking, fallible me, standing there thinking, we should ask this person not to come back to our meeting. Two of the home group members who have way more time than I do said, we can't ask this person not to come back. That's not okay. I had to swallow what I was feeling. When it comes to my feelings, I have to check my motives with my sponsor all the time. So we did come to a decision as a group to bring the safety card. And now we read that at the beginning of our home group meeting. But seeing how that took place was a huge lesson for me on a personal level. I learned, I think, at that point, how to use that in my daily life. I worked at an automotive repair shop. I have to tell people bad news all day long. So I have to keep myself in the right size so not to respond and react in a negative way with customers.
This one's submitted by Joe I.
Why does page 54 of the Big Book suggest that chemists, rather than physicists, are the ones that tell us about the intelligence which governs the universal behavior of electrons?
Because the chemists have a solution.
It's really not that funny. Thanks for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for AA as a whole. We share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about AA, visit aa.org or search online for Alcoholics Anonymous and your city.